This is 9 News.
Good morning. We begin with the dramatic scenes from London where a ceiling has caved in at a West End theatre. More than 700 people were inside the Apollo when parts of the roof crumbled and brought down a balcony. 76 people were treated at the scene, 7 were rushed to hospital with serious injuries. 9's Amelia Ballinger is there on the ground for us. Amelia, take us through the emergency situation. Yeah, indeed. That is a developing news story. Amelia, live for us in London there. Thank you. In breaking news, Paul Douglas Peters, the man convicted of putting a fake collar bomb around the neck of Sydney girl Madeline Pulver, has just lost his appeal for an early release. Peters has been behind bars since his arrest 2 years ago and has at least 8 more years to serve of his 13-year maximum sentence. His lawyers argued the crime wasn't the worst case in its category, was conducted in highly charged circumstances with massive international interest, and Peter's mental condition called for an early release. Back home, and it could be days before firefighters are able to fully extinguish a large blaze burning at a paper mill in Sydney's east. Around 100 firefighters were called to the site in Matraville yesterday after stacked bales of paper caught alight. The fire quickly spread to the roof of an adjoining factory where 10,000 litres of oil was stored. Authorities say it's too early to say what sparked the fire. A Sydney restaurant has hosted a get-together of some of the biggest Hollywood stars. Hugh Jackman and wife Deborah Lee Furness met Prison Break star Dominic Purcell for dinner. They were joined by Tom Burlinson, Naomi Watts and her husband Liv Schreiber at restaurant Catalina. Our big stars are flocking down under for Christmas, with Simon Baker and Nicole Kidman also in town. Here's a quick look at the weather across the country. Partly cloudy in Brisbane and scattered showers in Darwin. Plenty more to come in 9's morning news hour, including guilty verdicts. 2 men convicted for one of London's most brutal murders. Also ahead, a terrifying armed hold-up on board a bus. We're live to our US correspondent for the details next. And some tasty treats ahead of Christmas for Taronga's native residents.
What we're talking about here is a woman who don't even get any. What the hell is going on?
Oh my goodness, now we agree!
About to have a poo, #stinks.
The way a woman thinks is very different to a way a man thinks.
Hey, what do I know?
I think this guy's nuts.
It's just ridiculous, really.
Let's just go.
9 News now, weekdays 3 p.m.
A truck driver in Victoria has escaped a rollover unharmed after his vehicle overturned while carrying a load of Coca-Cola. Hundreds of cans tumbled onto the street shortly before 7 o'clock this morning, bringing traffic to a standstill in Derrimut, west of Melbourne. Though shaken up, the driver walked away without a scratch. Christmas dinner has come a little early for these lucky residents of Sydney's Taronga Zoo. Zookeepers didn't hold back, and from the look of the giant red stocking, the kangaroos and emus must have been really good this year, enjoying a feast of all their favourite treats. Still ahead this morning, why Paul Hogan could be used to front a new campaign by the Australian Tax Office. Plus, the new study which shows less medication is best for people with high blood pressure. And a harbour alight in California as boats join a Christmas parade. Welcome back. You're watching 9's Morning News Hour, and if you've just joined us, these are our top stories. An emergency in the centre of London this morning as the ceiling of a West End theatre caved in. 7 people are seriously injured. New South Wales is feeling the heat wave which swept through South Australia and Victoria yesterday. And royal watchers down under have been delighted with the news that the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge will stage an Australian tour next year. We return to our top story from London this morning, where a ceiling has collapsed at a packed-out theatre in the West End. More than 700 people were inside the Apollo when part of the roof came crashing down. 9's Amelia Ballinger is on the ground and joins us now on the phone. Amelia, how many theatre goers were injured? Just awful scenes there in London. Amelia Ballinger, thank you for that live report. A teenager has been found dead at a property on the Gold Coast this morning, with police right now setting up a crime scene. Live to reporter Brendan Wolfe at the scene. Brendan, take us through what happened there. Yeah, OK, Brendan Wolfe, thank you. The man convicted of killing truck driver Bob Knight has not only lost his appeal for a sentence reduction, but has also been slapped with an extra 3 years and 9 months. Mahmood Miriam was the man responsible for firing the fatal bullet during a shootout in Sydney, and Mr Knight was caught by a stray bullet. He was due for release in April 2016, but will now remain behind bars until January 2020. 4 volunteer firefighters have been injured after a rural fire service vehicle was involved in a serious crash in the New South Wales Southern Highlands. The team was responding to a call out in Mossvale when the truck crashed into a pole. The driver had to be cut free, while the front seat passenger suffered serious injuries after being thrown from the vehicle. They were both airlifted to hospital. The other 2 men in the back seat of the truck were treated for minor injuries. Soccer superstar and heartthrob David Beckham has signed copies of his latest book in London. Keen fans braved the cold and camped out overnight to have the self-titled autobiography signed by the man himself. Beckham has retired from football but is in negotiations to set up a Major League Soccer franchise in Miami. Clint Stanaway with sport next, and a new deal for Sonny Bill Williams. Clint.
Hi Pete, that's right. Rugby League's International Player of the Year is changing sports yet again, and this time SBW has the Olympics in his sights. Also this morning, not much fanfare, but Mick Fanning is planning a big party on the Gold Coast. Damien Ryan reporting there in Sydney. And finally this morning, a clearly exhausted Mick Fanning has arrived home to the Gold Coast, clutching his 3rd surfing world title. He produced his best at Pipeline with 2 last-minute heat wins to edge out Kelly Slater. Fanning is planning to celebrate with friends and family and also sleep for several days. He deserves it too, Pete. It's back to you.
He sure does, Clint. Thank you very much. Still to come on Nine's Morning News Hour, finance and the latest weather. To the national weather details now. On the satellite, a trough is triggering thundery showers over central WA, South Australia and the border ranges. Around the country today, partly cloudy in Brisbane, fine and 35, the top in Sydney, mostly fine and 27 in Perth, and scattered showers in Darwin. Tomorrow, 30 in clear skies in Brizzy, fine and 28 in Perth, and storms for Darwin. And looking ahead to Sunday, mostly fine and 30 the top for Brisbane, chances of showers in Sydney and Canberra, rain also for Melbourne and Adelaide, mostly fine in Perth, and storms for Darwin. To finance, and taking a quick look at the market numbers, the All Ords is stronger in early trade, up 37 points. And in currency, the Aussie dollar is mixed against the majors, it's fetching 88 US cents. And that's Nine's Morning News Hour. Amber Sherlock will be here at 3 p.m. with 9 News Now. I'll be back with the afternoon news just after 4 o'clock. I'm Peter Stefanovic. Thanks for your company. Hope you see you later.